Hello, 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 all my good people. Hello. Let me start off by saying, I'm so in love with having a microphone. This is crazy to me. I love microphones. When the lights come on, I perform. It's up and it's stuck. So, I just finished showing you guys a video of my Christmas gifts, but I'm back with my show review, right? Because I did promise you guys that I will review shows, right? And last week I started, and I started with Chrisean and BlueFace's Crazy in Love, right? So today is part two. Is actually about episode two, Crazy in Love, because episode three actually came on yesterday. I'm gonna watch it tonight, and I'm gonna review it. I'm gonna review it tonight, and I'm gonna share with you guys tomorrow. So hey, I'm back. If you didn't see my review of episode one, go back, go watch it so you can catch up, so you can know what I'm talking about in episode two. Alrighty? So let's get it started. Before I do, make sure you go to my page, and if you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe, you like, you share, and you comment on anything that you see fit. Okay, let's move forward. You got your sip. Okay, I got my blue dot and cranberry juice with a splash of lemon. Mm. Here we go. So I'm reviewing Crazy in Love, the Chrisean and BlueFace reality show, right? So part two starts up. Part two is called Baltimore. It starts up with the continuation from part one, where Chrisean, Chrisean, whatever. Listen, Rock apparently in the last ending of the last episode, she stole the van and sped off the scene because she was upset with her family and what was going on, right? So it starts off with her spazzing in a parking lot and bringing the van back, and she just pulled off recklessly, and now she's back, and she's saying, well, first of all, when she pulls off, Blueface says, "Now that's good TV right there," which is AKA that's the reason why I'm on this show with you, because you're going to show your ass and act like a nut, and that's going to be good promotion for us and our TV show to get a lot of views and get a lot of money, and that's what I need you for, right? Okay, no problem. Anyway, um then he tweets, "I love me a gangster bit." ITCH. Okay, whatever. All right, so now Chrisean comes back, and she's telling Blueface to, get in the van, get in the van, get in the van. They pull off while it look like producers are trying to stop them, but they are unsuccessful. They pull out the lot, right? And then the screen says, shortly after Chrisean drives off, the rest of her family arrives. So Chrisean and Blueface go to a bowling alley nearby. And they getting their bowling on. She on the phone with a family member, and she said that she pulled off, and she's done talking to them, and she hangs up, and her and Blueface commence to start bowling, whatever the case may be, right? They seem to be okay. They not beefing, like I said, Blueface is very good at kind of holding Rock down, in a sense that whenever she gets, high spirited and out of sorts, he will kind of be like her quote unquote voice of reason type of thing. So he's like, nah, don't get upset, whatever. But they seem to be in a good place, right? So she's saying her family play themselves, whatever, they eating pizza, they bowling, they doing what they need to do, right? So Chrisean brother Mookie decides to pull up to the bowling alley where Chrisean and Blueface are. So Mookie explains something in the car about what's going on with him and Chrisean, but I wasn't really clear on what he explained. And I rewinded a few times to try to get clarity, but I couldn't really understand what he's saying. But this was the gist of what I think he was saying, right? It seemed like he said Chrisean took a beat from him and made a song, and a brother and his friend got beef over the beat that Chrisean took and rapped on. Again, like I said, I wasn't really clear um, on what was taking place. I was like, I think that's what you said, but I'm not sure. Anyway, but as soon as Chrisean and Mookie spotted one another, they got to hugging and crying, and you can tell that I think it's Chrisean. I think I'm saying her name wrong. I'm saying Chrisean, but I think it's Chrisean. Chrisean and Blueface. Chrisean? I want to call her Rock. You can tell that she is either two things, right? She's not as either. She is two things, right? One, she's the baby out her family. And two, she's very close to them. So I could see that they know she's the baby. So they kind of, they can understand her temper tantrums and they deal with them. And they also love her through them because it's like almost like, okay, if the 2 year old is acting up, we anticipate that from the 2 year old, we love them anyway, type of thing. So that's the impression that I got. But anyway, when she saw Mookie, she was boohoo crying. They was hugging because a lot of times what I'm getting, well, not a lot of times, but the last 2 times I watched this show, what I'm getting is that Chrisean has been away from her family. So every time she sees one of them, it's kind of reminded of home life, and it causes her to break down and begin to cry because she misses them and she loves them. You could tell she's close to them. So she started breaking down and all that and all that. So then Mookie and BlueFace got introduced, and that went well for the most part. Hey, 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 right? So, Chrisean, in all fairness to her, she does have on a shirt and she has on a bra. She still did not attach the tooth. Okay, so the tooth is still not present. I don't know how many episodes we'll have this season, and I can't anticipate what episode the tooth will eventually, resurface. But in any event, she does have a shirt and a bra on this top. She just still has not attached the tooth. That bothers me. Again, it's going to always bother me that the tooth is detachable and that you just yank it out whenever need be. That bothers me. But anyway, so they basically like wrap the bowling up, and Mookie and them, they leaving out the bowling alley, and Mookie asks to have not a face to face, a man to man with BlueFace. And what I got from that was I could see that Chrisean knows that BlueFace may have not represented her well, like on the internet and things of that nature. And she knows that her family won't be happy about that because, again, I think they look at her as the baby of the family and they have to protect her. So she knows that he's going to run into quite a few issues with the family because of his treatment of Chrisean. So because she knows that and she anticipates that, anytime where, and you'll see this you'll hear me talk about this in the duration of the show. Anytime where they have to like talk to him or engage him, she gets very protective because I think she knows they're gonna bring up, hey, what's going on with you and my sister? Hey, what's going on with you and my cousin? Hey, what's going on with you and my daughter? And she knows that they don't feel what BlueFace is doing is right, and that's gonna cause an issue for BlueFace. And she don't want no issues come to BlueFace. BlueFace is Jesus Christ in Chrisean world. That's just what it is, right? You can tell from I'm not going back on the tooth. Anywho, Mookie says he wants to have a one-on-one man-to-man with BlueFace alone about the way he treats Chrisean, right? So, what I could see was that BlueFace feels like, this is just my assessment, BlueFace feels like Chrisean came from either not a good background or, things aren't going well for her. You know what BlueFace gives me? You know what BlueFace gives me? BlueFace gives me Stevie J vibes. BlueFace gives me Stevie J vibes. BlueFace and Chrisean give me the new age Stevie J and Jocelyn, because it's almost like, you was effed up and I came and I saved you and I helped you and who got your back, Blue? Who got your back, Rock? I got your back. Like almost as if to make her feel like, you really, really saved me. Like you're my savior. And in all fairness to both of them, to him, I think he genuinely feels that way. I think he feels like her family is effed up, but he knows that she loves them, but they're effed up. And he's like good to her and treats her better. And I think in her defense, she feels like he did do me right by me. Like he is showing me how to get money and he, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know. It's kind of like a twisted love affair for me because, just as a woman, and I'm almost sure Chrisean is about 20 years plus younger than me, if not more, even when I was that age though, like, my mom and my dad had a beautiful relationship. They had children together. They was together many years, 30 years, up until my dad died, so on and so forth. But even though my dad basically assumed responsibility for the household, and most times my mom was the homemaker, she worked, but she could quit every now and again if she felt like it because my dad, assumed. But I didn't get the idea that my mom viewed my dad as her saving grace, right? I think my mom viewed my dad as her partner. I think my mom viewed my dad as her lover. I think my mom viewed my dad as her protector and things of that nature. But I don't feel like my mom clinged on to my dad like he was Jesus Christ because he was her saving grace. I think I love you and I think you love me and I think we're in this together. But if you drop dead today or tomorrow, which is what happened with my dad, my mom can still proceed and live her life because I didn't look at you as like you're all I had to be okay. I look at it as you aid in me being okay, not you're all I ever need to be okay. And what I get from BlueFace is that he feels she comes from such an effed up situation that he's in some sense rescuing her. And I think she feels the same. And I think a lot of times when she has those emotional reactions, she's trying to, in some way remind herself, like, no, I'm that girl and I don't need you for nothing. But I think you don't believe that. I think you believe he's your saving grace and he believes it. And that's why it's such a, in a sense, manipulative relationship. But it's also, it's just weird. But in any event, it's just weird. Let me continue going on, right? So, when what happened was Mookie kept pointing out what BlueFace does, like, in the public to Chrisean. So I guess it was an issue. It was a situation where he recorded her like sucking his toes. And like, to me, the family is really mortified because they feel like their baby, because I could tell they look at Chrisean as like a baby. Their baby is getting embarrassed and done dirty for the world to see, right? And what Mookie was expressing was like, bro, you don't got to do that to her. Like, that ain't right. That's not what men do, yada, yada, yada. Now, in all fairness to BlueFace, his comeback is like, I don't do these things just out the clear blue. Like, I don't wake up every day to hurt Chrisean. What happens is she does something and all you guys are focusing on is my reaction to what she does. You're not focusing on what she does. So he keeps trying to point out to them, like, maybe if y'all address what she does, y'all wouldn't have to be checking me about my reaction to what she does, right? And I'm going to be honest, to a certain degree, I get that, what BlueFace is saying, because I remember, and you guys drop down in the comments and let me know if you've had this type of situation. You ever been friends with somebody, right? And that person, again, they may look at you as Jesus Christ. They may hang on to your every word. They may see you as somebody important in their life, right? And you're friends with them, but they have other people around them that may not view your friendship or your relationship with them as a positive thing. But they're that person's people. They're not your people. They're that person's people. Like, case in point, Chrisean brother approaching BlueFace about his reactions to Chrisean's actions. Mookie is Chrisean's brother. He's nothing to BlueFace. So the example I was getting at is, I remember I was friends with a girl and her mother came up to me to tell me she don't want me hanging with her daughter no more. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm respectful. I understand that and I hear you. And even if I make the decision not to hang out with your daughter, that doesn't mean that your daughter is making the decision not to hang out with me. And I felt like, you can't even tell your daughter what to do, but you coming up to me telling me what to do. If you can't tell your daughter what to do, why should I allow you to tell me what to do? I'm not your kid, And again, I was respectful. I never said that to the lady or nothing. I always found that odd. And that's the kind of vibe I got from BlueFace and Mookie's conversation. But I also understand that I could tell Chrisean's family views her like a baby. So they kind of, in their mind, it's like, well, whatever she does, let that slide because she don't know no better. But you know better, so you shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z, right? And in all fairness, I understand that perspective. I just don't agree with it. I just do not agree with it. I do not agree with it. All actions require reactions. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But you can't tell me not to respond to a situation when you can just eliminate the situation that I'm responding to, right? So I felt like if you're Chrisean's people and you feel like I'm doing something wrong to her, then you should be having a conversation about Chrisean and her engagements with me. You shouldn't have a conversation with me about responding or reacting to Chrisean's actions. And he even brought up an example like, you saying I did whatever he did, but he was saying I did it after she stole my car. Like he was giving concrete examples. Like I'm just not acting like this to her for nothing. I'm reacting to the things that she does. And he also questioned him to say, so do you think the things that she does is okay, and are you dismissive of those things, but you constantly harping on what I do, and I don't think that's fair. So they kind of had a little bit of a back and forth, and Mookie was like, well, I don't like the internet antics. And he was basically saying, well, they only happen when your sister ignites them and I react or respond, right? And it's a reaction, not a response. But anywho, that went back and forth. And what I did like about BlueFace is that he was able to stand his ground and what he felt, but he was also respectful to the brother. And the brother, I think, could absorb that because I think he felt like, even though we're agreeing to disagree, you're being respectful. And I'm just letting you know my point of view as that being my sister. Let's get on with it. That's the vibe I got from Mookie, right? Okay. I could see that it's Chrisean and BlueFace versus everybody. And I could see that Chrisean's family is not feeling that. Yeah, I just had a concern because I felt like they don't really hold Chrisean to a higher standard. They want to hold everybody else around her to that because they handle her with white gloves. And me personally, if you're my family member, I don't give a damn about nobody else. I give a damn about you. So I'm going to be approaching you about all your antics and the things you're allowing to go on. And that goes on in real life. I'm not going to lie to y'all. It's so many people that I know that keep people around them and they do bullshit, and those same people make excuses for them. And before I started the healing journey, and even in my beginning stages of the healing journey, I was one of those people. If I loved you, I would try to find a silver lining in what you did so you wouldn't feel that bad, and I could make you feel better about who you were when you did some bullshit. Instead of me just saying to you, that was some bullshit. But when you say it, it's like you're the bad guy and you don't love the person and you're offending them and you don't care about them. So you kind of get a little apprehensive about checking them. But at some point, how do they grow? If the folks around them cannot check them and let them know when they're wrong, how do they grow? It makes no sense. But in any event, so like I said, in my opinion, it's Chrisean and BlueFace against everybody, and Chrisean's family does not like that, right? So they back in the Sprinter, and they're going to meet the rest of Chrisean's family. And this person that approached her, I learned in the end, that was the mom. Soon as the mom came up, Chrisean once again went into an overload of emotions. And in that moment, I'm not going to lie, I understood it. Because what it seems like from the family, what they say, and from Chrisean, they haven't seen Chrisean in a while. And she hasn't physically seen them. And they're close. So once she laid eyes on her mother, it was an emotional breakdown like no other. And I felt her in that moment because I can't imagine going through so much stuff and not seeing my mom in such a long time when I know that's my nurturer and that's the person who calms me down, brings me down, and takes care of me. So it was an emotional breakdown, and I could understand that, right? So what I got in those moments was that that BlueFace didn't really want to engage Chrisean's family. I think he more so felt like, and I could see maybe he got that vibe from his interaction with Mookie. I think he felt like, you engage your family, go with your people. I'ma just play the side. I'm here for moral support. I think he didn't really want a business too much because he was being weird. Like, she was right. In that moment, he was being weird. Like, you on your phone, what's up? Like, I'm here with my family. We came here to see, like, what's good? So in that moment, I was looking at BlueFace like, are you trying to antagonize her? Because she gets out of sorts. Like, so, whatever, right? So, anyway, when she does finally get him to say, hey, come over, meet my family, stop acting like weird and stuff. He like, oh, all right, I'm going to come. He goes over, and it's one woman there that they constantly are blurring out, and I think that she's Chrisean's older sister, and if she is, she might. If she is not the older sister, she might be an aunt. She's just like an older woman figure in Chrisean's life, and I could honestly, being an aunt and an older sibling, I honestly understand where so much of that hardcore protection was coming from, because she was adamant on jumping on Blueface ass about everything, because again, she wants to protect Chrisean. My only concern is that protecting, nurturing, and keeping Chrisean under the wing does not help Chrisean grow. Because as much as y'all could go against Blueface for whatever y'all feel he's doing to her or not doing to her and for her and with her, if she's not going to leave him alone, it's null and void to approach him about any of this. Because all he has to do is say, I don't want to hear none of this, and F y'all. And if she's compliant with that, they're going to be what they're going to be, no matter how y'all feel. So anyway, she was like, Chrisean is a princess, and she starts lecturing him and so on and so forth. What I seen too was that Chrisean in that moment felt like she was like in a rock and a hard place. So she like kind of was like hiding behind Blueface and holding his hand, but trying not to face her family while they like fake barking on him, right? So Papa Bear comes. I have a lot of admiration. Um, I respect Papa Bear, right? I respect Papa Bear. I respect Papa Bear 100%. You know why? Because at the end of the day, and I was told this by my own parents, right? My mom and my dad always made it clear that the number one goal for both of them in their life is to protect and provide for their children. Everything outside of that is a luxury. But the necessity, the two main things that they were put on this earth to do after they had us, was to protect and provide for us, right? And my father, I don't know if you guys seen the movie A Time to Kill. We used to joke with my father and call him Carly Haley, because that one right there, I know my father is going up in a blaze for any one of us. My father will live, die, and lay his life on the cross for any of his children. And I won't lie, that is one of the things that I do miss about him so much, because I know that if nothing else, I always had his protection. And it's so crazy because even in his death, when I'm at some of my worst moments, he will appear in a dream and flat out show me and tell me how he's protected me, even in death. Even in death, let me give a sidebar. I worked at a school in Brownsville for 10 years, and I'm a team player. I work well with other folks. But one of my colleagues, which was an older gentleman, he was the dean at the school. But a lot of his, a lot of his I don't want to call them antics. So I'll say a lot of his ways about being the dean was in favor of the teachers, because he also was a teacher. So a lot of times he couldn't be fair to the students and their families because he was a teacher. So he more so worked from the teacher's perspective. And that became an issue for my principal. So the following year, my principal, when we was going into the new year, he asked me if I would consider being a dean, because he feels like I'm a person that can be fair to all parties. Now, let me say this. I never received the liquor overtime for this. I never received any awards or accolades. Nothing came extra for me taking this extra duty on. But I've always maintained really good relationships with most of my bosses, majority except for one. And so I didn't mind doing it for him. So when I took on that job, that teacher took a disliking to me, right? And again, he was an older man, and I've been raised with respect. So I would never disrespect him, but he blatantly would show that he didn't like me and he didn't have any respect for me. And he would do things to show that. I remember one time a guy came and he was there teaching the building response team about how to do CPR and yada, yada, yada. And he was privy to the gentleman disrespecting me. And he was so much of a stand-up guy that he stepped in and was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Watch your mouth. That's a lady you're speaking to. Like, he did things to bother me. And for And because I was raised with respect, I would never disrespect an older person. And it doesn't matter who they are. So a lot of times I let most of his antics just go over my head because I'm like, you old. I don't get no favor for doing this. And I never forget this. It had got to a point where I was at the last level and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to disrespect him, but I'm going to have to get one of my friends to whip his ass because now he's going too far, right? And it bothered me so much in my spirit. And the day that I kind of made the decision that I might have to go there, that same night I had a dream. And in the dream, at the end of the school day, I was in one of the classrooms. And in the classroom, the students kept, like, kids would go out to go to the bathroom, but it was the last period of the day. And they kept saying, Khadijah, you have a visit out there. You have a visit out there. And I kept telling them they have to wait to the end of the day because, number one, they're not scheduled to come. And number two, I'm covering a class for a teacher or whatever, right? And they kept telling me, kept coming back. And I'm like, tell a person to wait. And do you know when I went out the classroom, it was my dad. It was my dad. And all the dreams that I had before that about my dad, I would just like hear his voice in the distance. I would never see him. This time I seen him, his face physically. And he came, it makes me about to cry. He came and, I don't want to cry in this because I'm trying to do a review. But anyway, in the video, he walked me from one end of the hallway in that school to the other end of the hallway. And we only had a leg of the hallway. And what he said to me was that, you know, I'm always here for you. You know I love you. You know I'm watching over you. And you know I will forever protect you. And I woke up crying because I was like, wow, like, you know, even in death, he is still protecting me. And long story long, that gentleman ended up leaving. You know, the problem resolved itself. But I say all that to say, when Chrisean's father stepped up, granted, he did come across a little immature and things of that nature, but I think a lot of his frustration came from he was stepping up to protect his daughter. He had been watching in the public all these things that he viewed as his daughter being taken advantage of and disrespected, and now I'm faced with the man that's doing all of this, so I'm stepping to his ass and I'm checking his ass. So Papa Bear was on one, right? And in all fairness, again, outside looking in just as a regular human being, not even thinking about the parental perspective of it, Papa Bear was a little out of line about his approach, but I do understand what ignited him that way because that is his baby girl, along with the rest of the family, right? So Papa Bear steps up. All of them are in his face yelling. The sister, I don't know if she's a sister or the aunt. Even the mother at this point is like, you know, it's just everybody. And I felt like BlueFace was trying in those moments to like, you know, listen, y'all can't blame me for all of this. She has a hand in this. I'm not forcing her. You know, he's basically trying to give his perspective, right? So Chrisean is getting in the middle because apparently Chrisean must have heard some of Papa Bear's frustration because when Mookie, I left this part out, when Mookie was when it was only Chrisean, Mookie, and BlueFace, Mookie said to Chrisean, like, yo, you know, you got to see Pops. And she like, oh, brother. And he like, yo, you know, you got to fix that. So I'm guessing that Pops was been telling her, like, when I see you, we going to have a problem because you letting this guy do whatever, right? Okay, no problem. And she's defending it or whatever, right? So Chrisean is trying to get in the middle of the father getting in BlueFace's face. And he's like, stay out of it, you know, so on and so forth. And Papa Bear is telling him, like, don't put your hands on my daughter and all this and all of that. So BlueFace is giving the same energy that he was giving to Mookie, which is, you know, you have to also look at why we're getting to that place because she's initiating all of this. And then BlueFace turned around and asked her father, so you taught her that? So you taught her how to put her hands on men? So the argument ensued from there, and they're advocating for Chrisean, and Chrisean is trying to say, oh, leave him alone, and all this and all of that, and all this and all that. So BlueFace asked him, like, you know, if he ever hit a woman. And he said, yeah, because she was disrespecting me. And I was like... Pops. Pop. Let me holler at you. Pop. 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 Let me holler at you. Pop. 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 Let me holler at you. Pop. Pop. Let me holler at you. Pop. 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 Let me holler at you. 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 Pop. 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 Let me ho Pop, 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 pop. Head to the front, pop, pop. Pop, pop. Head to the front. Head to the front of the congregation, pop, pop. Pop, pop. I think BlueFace feels the same way. I think BlueFace feels like Chrisean is disrespecting him. So when you put your hands on whoever daughter that you slapped around because you felt she was what? Disrespecting you. I think BlueFace put his hands on your daughter because he felt she was disrespecting him. I think that's congruent. Papa, stay at the front of the congregation, brother. You need healing. Because for you to admit that, I would rather you lied and let the lady come on years later and say, well, you do hit women. But to say that you put your hand, you admitted to him, yes, I have hit a woman because I felt she was disrespecting me. I hear you, brother. So anyway, and BlueFace asked, so what do you think Chrisean be doing? Chrisean. And oh God. So Papa Bear kept acting like he wanted to talk on the side, but Papa Bear energy, like I said, suggests that he couldn't wait to see BlueFace because he wanted all the smoke, right? Okay, so this is going back and forth, shoving and pushing with her family. Chrisean is doing all the shoving and pushing with her family. They're trying to tell her. They was trying to explain to her they trying to take up for her. And it was just getting ugly. It was just getting ugly because the bottom line was they was trying to say you are a baby and we trying to protect you against him. And basically what she was saying was I'm protecting him against y'all. So it went on and on and on and on and on and on, right? So it was getting ugly with everybody, not just the father. Everybody was getting in his face. Now, Mookie was being very weird. This is what I felt about Mookie. I felt like Mookie, the brother, because remember, he had initially went first and met BlueFace and saw Chrisean all that. I felt like he didn't really want no smoke with BlueFace. I felt like once he laid out his situation and he heard BlueFace out, he just made a request and he said, we're going to see what happens from there. So I think he didn't really want no smoke. What I think happened was the father wanted all the smoke, and I think Mookie know that it looked bad on him that the older father is taking care of this when I got a son and Chrisean has a brother that should be handling this nigga. That's what I feel, right? So I think with him seeing the father doing all of that and cameras everywhere, he felt like I got to do something, right? So he did like a weird whisper to the dad and so on and so forth. Then I think BlueFace saw that and was like, listen, if one of y'all swing on me, it's going up. Right? And, you know, because everybody's getting his face, the cameras is moving, everybody trying to push BlueFace, they trying to get his face, he trying to, like, it was a whole bunch of drama. Next thing you know, Mookie sucker punched BlueFace. Now, if you're not watching, it happened so fast, and where the father was positioned, you would think it was the father that did it. But no, Mookie is the person who punched BlueFace. What, child? Mookie punched BlueFace. It went up from there. He trying to get to each other. Right? Right? It could never get right. BlueFace couldn't really land his blows. He couldn't get to who he trying to get to. Everybody pushing, security out there, cameras out there. Their whole family is out there, so on and so forth. Child, BlueFace ran around the crowd and drugged the pops. Back out! BlueFace, come to the front of the congregation. BlueFace, to the front of the congregation, right on your knees next to the father, to the front of the BlueFace. Child, BlueFace drugged the pops. The pops hit the ground. What? Pow! BlueFace. You can't punch nobody, daddy, like that. BlueFace. Usher boy, all the blessed oils. You have blessed oils. All of the blessed. We need all. Bring the whole tub of blessed oil. BlueFace, you cannot put your hand on an elderly pop up here like that. Child, Blueface punched that man whole face off. Oh my God. So once he punched Lord, I'm not laughing at no young man hitting no senior citizen. I don't care what senior citizen did. But in any event, once Blueface did that, child, it went up and it went stuck. Whips, chains. Now, they had a ratchet sister. I could tell. Chrisean, you talk a lot of shit, but you was scared of that sister in orange or pink, whatever color dress you had. Child, she ain't have no shoes on. She done tore the rainbow belt off her dress. She trying to whack Chrisean. They trying to chase Blueface. Security got Blueface in the lock. They trying not to let the family get him. Everybody in the family running around and throwing and launching. And child, it was up once Blueface knocked the pappy whole head off. Blueface, don't touch somebody's father. But y'all remember I told y'all in episode 1 how Chrisean was there cracking up laughing because she drugged Blueface mama. And by drug, let me clarify because I don't want YouTube to have no smoke with me. Drug mean punched them so hard they was dazed and delirious. And shit got serious. When it was dazed. Listen. What's Tory Lane's father? Listen, I have intercessors and prayer warriors for Blueface. For Chrisean's father. Where's the intercessors and the prayer warriors? Child, he knocked his noggin off. The family was mortified about that. So at this point, they want smoke with Blueface. They want smoke with Zeus. They want smoke with Chrisean. She ain't got in no tooth. It's just too much going on, right? Whips and chains out. Boom, pop, 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 pop. Homegirl with the orange hair, she was on Chrisean. I'ma kill you, bitch. They didn't drug daddy, meaning knock them out, not real drugs. They didn't knock daddy noggin off, and you here protecting this oatmeal cream pop face bitch. It's on for you. She was scared of the sister, but Chrisean, she run away from her. She want to do her angry on the side. Girl, do that in the front. So anyway, everybody going crazy. They done took off their shoes. They bopping a Zeus cameraman in the head. Chrisean don't have her tooth in. It was just too much going on. But she did have on a bra and a shirt, right? Now it's war. The police is on the scene. All this and all this and all this and all that. Girl, why they finally get Chrisean and Blueface off the scene? Why? Soon as they get them off the scene before the end of the show, you know what Blueface tweeted? I'm her daddy now.